And welcome to your first day of science. I'm sorry I could not be there today, but this will be your intro into the variables unit. Alright, first off, science safety. Here are a few things I just wanted to talk about as we begin the science unit. I can get you guys copies of this science safety sheet if you need to, otherwise you are always able to access it here on your Google Classroom. So, always follow the safety procedures outlined by your teacher. Never put any materials in your mouth. Do not taste any of the chemicals unless I would tell you to do so. Do not smell any unknown material unless I ask you to do so. You can waft a smell towards you, but you should not smell directly. Avoid touching your face, mouth, ears, eyes while working with chemicals, plants, or animals. Do not mix unknown chemicals. Only mix the chemicals that are advised by myself. Always wash your hands after using chemicals. Clean up spills immediately. Clean up your workspace area after each investigation. Remember, now we're doing it in a workshop format, so there will be another group going after you, so we need to make sure everything we do is cleaned up very well. Be careful when using sharp or pointed tools. Protect yourself and your neighbors. Report all accidents, even small ones, to me. Follow directions and ask questions if you're unsure of what to do. You will always have a paper copy or a iPad copy of whatever the investigation we're doing, the directions, but if you have questions that are not able to be answered on that, please just ask me. And then behave responsibly during the investigations. Okay, so today we're starting a series of activities that will help us to understand how to design and conduct scientific experiments. Just like scientists, you'll need a place to record your observations, your experimental designs, and your discoveries. Your content inquiry journals will serve as this function. So you got these the other day. The picture on the left is what the content inquiry page looks like. So here's an example of my content inquiry sheet from last year for variables. So yours will look very much like this. So every day that there's a video like this, there will be some vocabulary that you'll have to write in. So please don't start writing this one down quite yet. You don't have to write all of this stuff today. And I will provide the things that needed to be added to your sheet today. What I would recommend is if you see up on the top here, I have variables listed since that is the unit we're in. And then here I have investigation 1 swingers. I would list that on your content inquiry page, so later on if you're looking through, you know which heading you should be under. And the first one is swingers, and I just put vocabulary, and any of the vocabulary and questions that would go along with swingers we'd list on this page. So just plan to set up your variables in the top corner and investigation 1 swingers right there. Okay, the vocabulary you will need, and feel free to pause this video at any time if you need a little more time to fill in the vocabulary or the questions. But first is pendulum, a mass hanging from a fixed point that is free to swing to and fro or back and forth. A cycle, any motion or activity that repeats itself. And finally, variable, anything that you can change in an experiment that might affect the outcome. And then if you, somewhere on the bottom half of the page, could write down these 3 questions. These are questions we'll be answering when we do our investigation together. So what is a variable? What is a pendulum, and where have you seen one? And finally, what variables might affect the number of cycles the pendulum makes in 15 seconds? So these are 3 of the questions that we will be answering together when we do the investigation. Okay. Before you start the first investigation tomorrow, you'll have to make your equipment. So each group will be split into pairs or groups of 3 to make the swinger. You will find out who the groups are tomorrow. And the instructions are on the how to build a swinger sheet in Google Classroom. So if you look here in variables and get investigation 1, It's right here. This is the instruction sheet. So if you could just look at this so you have a better idea of what we're doing tomorrow, I would appreciate it. Okay. The other thing that I need for you to do today is read the science stories. And there is a homework sheet that my sub has in their possession. So if you could just get a copy of that worksheet from them and read the science story and fill in that homework sheet, that would be the only thing I need you to do yet today. So that is also on our Google Classroom. Right here, variables, what scientists do. It's a PDF, so you are able to open it up if you want to open it and explain anything, or explain everything so you can jot notes down on it, that's fine. Otherwise, if you just read this, you will be able to answer the questions on that homework sheet. Alright, that is all I have for you today. If you finish with this during the science time, please feel free to use this time as a silent study hall.